Hey, Dave Jordan, I appreciate you being willing to, let me poke your brain a little bit. We're here with Dave Jordan of Non-Human Audio out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're here just outside the Effector Market in OKC. It's a wonderful event, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm having a blast, yeah.
There's lots of really cool effects pedals owners and manufacturers here, and it's really a cool place to get together. I've personally, I guess just to start off, how would you like to introduce Non-Human Audio?
Well, we make effects pedals. I hand make everything. I guess you could consider us like boutique in that way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just always kind of trying to find sounds that I'm not getting from other things.
Okay. Is that a big part of your ethos of what drives you to develop something or not?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my stuff comes from me trying to create stuff that I want to use for my own personal, uses, and then kind of determine about whether or not other people might want it from there. Yeah, but everything pretty much starts with I wonder if I can get this sound because I want this sound.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate that for sure. So as a pedal builder, where do you determine when an idea is new enough and inspiring enough to warrant a whole new product?
Well, for me, it really is, it stems from basically what I just said, right? So it's if I can get the sound from something else, then I don't need to make it. If somebody else makes a pedal that already does it and does it well, then great. Everybody should buy that pedal, I'm more interested in finding stuff that I find inspiring. I've certainly tried to design some things that don't necessarily inspire me to play or bring anything different out of me, and then that's how I kind of know that it's not really worth pursuing. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
No, I understand that for sure. Is it sometimes difficult? Do you ever hold on to babies that weren't ever meant to be born, type of thing? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You entertain these ideas of, oh, what would happen if I do this or that, and I assume you start to try and build it, but then you hold on to, maybe it's like writing a song. You hold on to a song that you like because of one part, but in the end, it's not meant to be released as a full song.
Yeah, I try not to. Yeah. Actually, I try and be very, very good about
if you start it, you're gonna finish.
Yeah, I'll at least see it to what I feel like is the end, and then if I'm not super sold on it, a lot of times I'll put stuff down and come back to it later and see how it feels. And if I come back to it later and I don't get any real excitement out of revisiting it, then I know it's not really worth pursuing more.
Okay.
I'm a relentless self-editor, and so I have no problem just ditching stuff if it's not working.
Okay, cool. How many ideas do you find you must sift through before developing one that's worth making into a pedal?
It could be 100, it could be 0. That's just the reality is I could design one thing and it could feel amazing, and then I could design another thing and it could feel amazing, and then it could be months before I design something else that really inspires me. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's really just, it's like that creative spark. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
No, I totally understand that. Yeah. So in your episode of Object Worship, you talked about how low quality parts like transistors and resistors provide a shift in sound over time due to the chemical makeup of said parts. Could you talk more on this?
Yeah, so component drift is a real thing that people deal with, and it's because things like capacitors and resistors are chemically based, essentially, right? And just over time, as the interior materials that these things are made out of start to break down, the literal values of these things will change. You could take a 10K resistor and measure it 30 years later and it could be 8K or it could be 12K, or drift is a real thing, and in certain situations, if that resistor or capacitor is in a specific place in a circuit, that can drastically change the sound, which is what can lead to things like old Big Muffs sounding different, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly. What was it exactly? Your piece of gear that you chose is like your favorite or one that inspired you for that object worship episode. Is a Big Muff tall?
It was a tall font.
Tall font. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just interested. Are there like components that are are the more expensive, higher quality components usually more durable as far as not like being resistant to chemical change?
I think over time, not really, actually. I think what you can find is higher quality components that are in current production have a more narrow window of tolerance, they call it. So like a resistor or capacitor could be 5% tolerance. So if it's a 100K resistor, it could be 105 or it could be 95. And higher quality things have a lower window of tolerance. So the percentage swing could be lower. So you're going to get a more pure, consistent range. Exactly. Whereas like a really cheap component, using the Big Muff as an example, like the components that they were using back in the day could have a 20% tolerance. And a 20% tolerance in either way can make a massive difference, you know.
That's interesting. Yeah. So you've mentioned Death by Audio as an inspiration. What do you love about them?
Everything. I mean, I love their pedals. I love their ethos. I love their approach to design. I love their approach to marketing. I love that so many of their pedals are borderline unusable, but they're exciting in that way. Like, you never really know what you're going to get, and they're not afraid of seeking out like those edge cases, and they're not afraid of pushing their pedals to the absolute limits of like, what can this do? And if it's not usable, they don't really care if it's exciting. And I love that about them.
Me too, yeah. It suits their name for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So I'd love to hear more about your thoughts on Benson Florist. I've yet to try it, but it seems like a really cool collaboration.
Yeah, it was really, really exciting. Just getting to work with Chris Benson one-on-one and bounce ideas off somebody that I really look up to, and I, am kind of in awe of how good he is at what he does. Getting to work with somebody like that was just fantastic, and like it was a real, I guess a real like validating experience, or a real vote of confidence that he wanted to work with me in that way too. Yeah, it was a really great experience. I'm really proud of that pedal.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. How did he come about, being interested in the slow Loris?
I think he had just kind of heard of it from, kind of like seeing it on boards or people posting about it, because when we met, he was familiar with it already. So I don't really know how he actually came about it, but yeah, like when we were here last year was the first time that he had played it. But yeah, he was already kind of familiar with it, so I think just kind of it being out there,
That's cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you. Just for people interested in effects pedals or just in general, what do you think is something that would be important to understand the person that you are today, Dave?
Understand the person that I am?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a deep question. My girlfriend always likes to say that I am unfailingly myself, and I think that's a good way to put it, because that seeps into everything I do, including making pedals, because if I'm not interested in something, I'm not going to pursue it. And if I see something through to the point of like actually pursuing it, like pedals or even just individual pedals, putting them out, then like it's absolutely something that like, I believe in,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess that would be maybe my greatest strength and weakness is that I am unfailingly myself.
I feel that. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I appreciate you, Dave. Yeah, definitely go check out Non-Human Audio. They got some really cool devices, and I'm sure we'll see you around in the effects community for some time to come. You know.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, what's cool for me is I see all these people who love sounds of all sorts, and everybody in there listens to different music, is inspired by effects pedals or music for different reasons. But to see the kind of culture influencing itself within Spears, you being inspired by Benson, and then him being inspired by your pedal, coming up with that collaboration, people are going to be influenced by like the Slow Lorist or Mocking Blur and pedals of yours, which are gonna influence new companies that probably aren't even available or like open now, that will be here in the Effector Market in like 5 years or 10, who knows.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like think about here in Oklahoma, just like how it started with Keeley Electronics, and then that's what somebody branched off from there. Wasn't it Brady? Like
yeah, so Keeley gave birth to Walrus, gave birth to Old Blood.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like just the influence in general. I think it's cool to see that. I went on a tangent there, but yeah. Anything else that you would like to say?
No, I guess not. Follow me on social media.
Yeah. Shout outs. Like what shout outs would you like to give?
I'm at Non-Human Audio on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my social media time, and yeah, you can find me. I'm findable.
Cool. Appreciate you. Thank you, Dave.
All right, thanks, man. All right, I'm gonna go back in.
Thank you.
It did start to get a little chill.